Welcome to the Miracle Moment with Dr. Kenneth Orbeck. My name is JJ and I'm your host. I'm excited to pick up where we left off last time and do a bit of a recap. Are you ready for this?
I am. This is so much fun. I love this. This is my passion. Let's go, JJ.
Okay, I'm ready. Don't you love how you get all pumped up? It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
It's good.
I really want to recap the cellular city because for me personally, it was such a more simplified approach to understanding what you do. Can you help us just recap that for anybody new who's listening today?
JJ, where do you want to live?
Where do I want to live? Wait, like as in a location?
No. Like, do you want to live in a beautiful city or do you want to live in the slums? Where do you want to live?
Beautiful. Something that's, growth.
Clean and beautiful and growing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, for sure.
That's how I relate the cellular city to your cell. Okay? So, I mean, the cell inside is like a cellular city on how it all works. Let's recap that real quick. We won't spend a lot of time on this. So, in a cellular city, basically you have what? Power production? That's your ATP. That's where your food comes in, your mitochondrial kicks in, and you're making energy called ATP. So that's your energy production of the cellular city. The next we go to sanitation system. That's your detoxification system. Your liver and your kidney play a big role in that. Got to get the garbage out, right? That's really important. Then we go down and we talk about the immune system. We talked about immunosenescence. We talked about immune decline. We talked about how important the immune system is with everything we live with today. A lot of bugs out there, right? Well, the immune system is our fire department, puts out the fires, okay? Going down to communication, we have our nervous system and our hormones, okay? So the nervous system is really important, but hormones help cell-to-cell communication. We'll get to that in just a second. And then we go down to protein synthesis, how your body makes protein. That's our civil engineering of the city. You've got to have civil engineering. You got to create. You got to design, all right? That's what the cell does inside the nucleus, okay? And then we talk about our water supply. You want a nice water supply in your city? I want clean, drinkable water, right? Your body needs water. It needs it bad. How much does your body need per day? Do you have any idea?
Is it 60 ounces or 48 ounces?
One half your body weight in ounces.
Oh, interesting. Never
per
heard
day.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're 200 pounds, you need 100 ounces of fluid a day.
Okay.
And it should be in water. All right. And then we have our supermarkets in the city. Hopefully they're really clean, good supermarkets. That's our nutrition. We talked about nutrition in a little bit on the past podcast, and nutrition is very, very important. So that's the cellular city. And I love it because you can just think about a good, healthy city. That should be your good, healthy cell.
It's, like I mentioned, so much more of a simple approach to help individuals really understand how everything plays a part together, right? How it all works together. Yeah. One area of your city that I am most interested in is the area where your hormones reside.
Oh, yes. So hormones, we talked as well previously about the importance of hormones in your body, okay? So menopause, andropause, the male menopause, hormones start to decline. What really happens when hormones go down? You lose cell-to-cell communication, all right? We're going to get a little detail at some point in the future about hormones. We'll really dive in deep, so stay tuned out there because we're going to talk about hormones in the future. But right now, what I want to talk about is I want to just brush over hormones, where they come from, and what do they do, basically, on a basic plane, all right? So hormones are cell signals. Where do they come from? Hormones come from cholesterol. It's called the steroidogenic pathway. Those are your sex hormones. So your sex hormones or the steroidogenic hormones come from cholesterol. Cholesterol manufactures down to pregnenolone. Pregnenolone goes across and down through the whole cascade, manufactures testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, DHEA, pregnenolone, all the real important hormones of your body that signal the cell. Now, when the hormones are made in the body and you have optimal ovaries or men that have optimal testicles, these hormones are released according to the brain's need for the hormone in the body. The pituitary gland is our central nervous system up there that really monitors. That's the head of the endocrine system, hypothalamus and pituitary, right? And so they kind of monitor. They know what's going on with the hormones, and they send signals out for the right kind of hormones to be produced by either your ovary, your testicle, your adrenal gland, where the hormones come from, or thyroid, for example, in your thyroid gland, okay? Today we're talking about steroidogenic hormones, so we'll focus on that. Steroidogenic hormones basically keep you anabolic. Okay, we talked a little bit about that in the past, being anabolic versus catabolic. Real quick for our audience out there, catabolic is a breakdown of your body. Muscle breaks down into individual amino acids, okay? The bone breaks down and loses basically its strength and power. And the body will start to gain some fat, some middle weight, visceral adiposity. That's a no-no, okay? Because visceral fat really, it actually governs how well you'll age, and it's actually a factor in chronic disease. So when we add in hormones, and by the way, I want to specify now the difference between hormones. I'm talking about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. There's a lot of hormones on the market. There's a lot of synthetic hormones. What is the difference between synthetic hormones and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy? Because there's a lot of controversy about that, and I think there's a lot of misinformation about that. When your body makes a hormone from your endocrine glands, that's bioidentical. Basically, it's identical in your body, biologically to what your body's making. Can we simulate that? Like, can we make the same hormone? Yes, we can. Comes from wild yam up at high altitude. We can extract those molecules, and we can make the exact same hormone that your body produces. That's bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. We don't change the biochemical structure in bioidentical replacement therapy. If you change the biological structure, the basic engineering of the hormone, put on a carboxyl group or a methyl group or something different, you can change that hormone. The key may go into the lock, but it won't open the door. And you'll have different side effects from the metabolites that the hormone is producing when it gets metabolized through the liver. We'll get that in more detail in the future. We'll get much more into that. So I'm a real advocate of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. There's a big difference between the two. The key fits the lock. It unlocks the door opens. Guess what? Your body begins to make protein. You now become anabolic. And so you start to burn fat and build muscle. Steroidogenic hormones and the anabolic sterols are very important when you age to keep your body compositional status correct, which is where you want to maintain muscle mass and burn fat and resist adipose fat around your organs of the body.
Well, and you said this is one of the main complaints that you receive when people come into your office is weight management topics.
It is. And you know what? Is not our society so driven by weight? It's not even who are you, it's what do you weigh? It's getting to the point where it's almost crazy out there, right? And looking at, all the models and so forth out there and trying to be your best and look your best, everybody's jumping on the scale. What's your number? I'm not a number man. I don't really care what the scale says. What I care is, what are you made of?
Yes, and I remember that is exactly what you said to me. We're going to find out what you're made of.
Yep, I want to know what's inside your body. You can take two individuals that walk into my office. Let's say two women walk in. They both weigh exactly 155 pounds. Are they identical? Well, maybe and maybe not. So what do? I check out their muscle. I check out their fat. I check out their bone content. I check out their water content. When I analyze all those aspects of weight, I can then tell that individual, are you in a healthy state of living or are you in an unhealthy state of living? Both of those women weigh the same. One is an athlete with a lot of muscle, and the other one's a couch potato with a lot of fat. Are those two individuals the same metabolically? Absolutely not. All right? So it's more about percent body fat, PBF, that I look at. And what I try to do is what I do is I measure that. And then as we get into weight management, I don't call it weight loss. I want to do weight shifting. I want to shift tissue. I want to get you healthier. It's not about the number. It's about what you're made of. And I wish society understood that. Because if they understood that, they would be much more inclined to wanting to get their body to an optimal state of health. You can starve your body and lose weight. Well, guess what? Most of that weight will probably be muscle coming off. And so at the end of the day, when they have less on the scale, they're not as strong. They're not as vigil. They're not as healthy. That's the point I'm trying to make. So it's about weight management. It's not about weight loss.
Well, in mainstream information out there, like you mentioned, is lacking in understanding. And I think that's what's so amazing about what you're doing is you're sharing your message and helping to educate individuals around a broader understanding of what it means to be healthy from the inside out.
Correct. Absolutely. And it all plays a role. You got to have your cellular communication system in place. You got to have your hydrational system in place because you got to take the toxins out of your body. That takes water to do that. Right? You have to have enough hydration to have your lymphatic system work properly, to have your circulatory system work properly, and to filter out toxins through the kidneys properly. Okay, you need the hydration. We talked about sanitation. We talked about immunity. We talked about all that stuff. It's all very, very important. So when someone talks to you and they say, what do you think about weight loss? I want everyone out there that's listening to this podcast today said, wait, what?
Management.
It's not weight loss. It's weight management. What are you made of? That's what counts.
So in our conversation, when I first came into your office, you said, listen, JJ, I could go ahead and give you X, Y, or Z hormones. However, I don't understand what you're made of yet. We need to assess this.
Correct.
So once you have that information, how do then hormones play into, I know we're staying high levels, so save all the nitty gritty good stuff for the next podcast.
Yes.
But how do hormones then play into that conversation once you understand what a person is made of?
So if you're hormonally deplete or have hormonal imbalance, let's say you're perimenopausal, menopausal, or going through andropause in men, okay? The first thing I want to do is I want to get basically the compositional status of your body because I want to know really what I'm working with. I want to know your muscle. I want to know your fat. I want to know your hydration. Once we find that out, hormones are critical as the beginning step to give you cell-to-cell communication and start shifting you from becoming catabolic, like we talked about, to anabolic. The metabolism has to be shifted. The cell signals have to be put back in place, okay? Until we can get the body to understand that it needs to maintain muscle mass, maintain bone mass, build bone and build muscle, all right? Until the body understands that, I see every day when I go to the fitness center, I feel so sorry. I see individuals that are lacking muscle. They may be in their late 60s, early 70s. They're tired, they're fatigued, and they're lacking muscle, and they're pounding it in the gym. I mean, literally pounding it. You know what's happening? If they don't have hormonal replacement, if they don't have cell signals, they're pounding cortisol. That's a catabolic hormone. And so what they're doing is they're putting more stress under their body. They're pushing the cortisol more efficiently, actually inefficiently, because cortisol is not a great hormone. And I won't really talk badly about cortisol all the way around because cortisol is needed for fight and flight. If I'm in an emergency, one hormone I want is cortisol. It's going to keep you alive. But in today's society, there's one emergency after the other every minute. That's how we live. And then you add to that the impact of working out against like positive cellular reinforcement, and that's just a negative event. And so I'm seeing these individuals are getting so frustrated because they don't see outcome. Well, why? Cell-to-cell communication. It's missing. And
in essence, they're breaking their body down even more so, but
Correct.
They think they're doing something positive to help themselves.
And ultimately it ends up in injury.
Wow. So with that being said, we understand how the hormones affect weight management as far as at a high level. Mm-hmm. And often, I mean, other than doing this podcast, like how do we tell more people that they need to really take a look at what their body is made of? How do we get the message out even more?
It's not that difficult. I think basically the take home with today's podcast is this. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy is critical in cell signaling. Cell signaling is critical in how your body maintains what tissue it needs to survive and grow gracefully as you age. All right? So basically it's, what do you weigh? Doesn't matter. What are you made of? That's what matters.
Amazing. This is such a great eye-opener for so many people, I'm sure, listening, because it really it disrupts the way we've been thinking for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I know you want to share so much more information about hormones, and I'm sure our listeners want to hear all about it. But what we'd like to do is wrap this session up now, Dr. Orbeck, and next time you have to join. You must be here because we are going to do a deep dive into hormones to help you even better understand how they fit into your weight management, but your lifestyle in general. Thank you so much for watching The Miracle Moment. This is JJ with Dr. Orbeck.
Thank you, JJ.